From Caterpillars to Butterflies, episode 20, the power of coaches, mentors, and guides, plus ways to coach yourself.
Welcome to the From Caterpillars to Butterflies Personal Growth Podcast. Just like the caterpillar is destined to become a butterfly, you too are designed for a beautiful transformation. This is where you go to grow and transform your life. And now, here's your host, certified life coach, Charlene Dior.
Hey, this is Charlene Dior, your host of the From Caterpillars to Butterflies Personal Growth Podcast, where we talk about all things personal growth. If it can help you grow, we will likely be covering it right here. Before we get started on today's topic, I wanted to just remind you, if you listened to last week's episode and you listened all the way through, I made an invitation. I invited you to support and sponsor the podcast on Patreon. So Patreon is a site where you can sponsor content creators who are providing you with content that you find valuable, that you're enjoying. So you can sponsor this show on Patreon for as little as $1 per month. It's just a love offering to help keep the show going, keep us on the road. So if you are interested at all in that, this is just a reminder to go ahead and sponsor us. We'd love to have you, and you might even hear your name on the show. Might give you a shout out. So you can do that at Patreon, patreon.com/From Caterpillars to Butterflies. And you can find that link on the website as well. So anytime I share any link or a book or anything, I always link to it in the show notes, or my assistant does. So you can always go to FromCaterpillarsToButterflies.com if you miss anything, or if you just want to go and read the show notes and get any links and other resources available to you. So that is just some house cleaning. Let's go ahead and jump into today's content. We're talking about coaching. The title of today's podcast episode is The Power of Coaches, Mentors, and Guides. So I'm a big proponent of coaching and mentoring and being guided, or whatever terminology that you want to use. So I just wanted to talk really about what I see as those benefits for myself, but then also as a coach, just what I think the benefits are for you. So the power of coaching, mentoring, and receiving guidance. What is coaching? James Hem Mitchell said, coaching is about creating an action plan that moves you forward from where you are to where you want to be. Some unknown person said that coaching is all about having someone believe in you and encourage you, about getting valuable feedback, about seeing things from new perspectives, and setting your sights on new horizons. Another anonymous person said that life coaching is your opportunity to take your life from good to great. The most prevalent thing, the biggest advantage of having a coach or a mentor or a guide is the accountability. I saw a study that said something to the effect that when you have an appointment scheduled with an accountability partner or coach or guide or mentor, the likelihood of you accomplishing a task or a goal increases to 90 some odd percent. 90% success rate when you have an appointment with a coach. Because when we're holding ourselves accountable, it's very easy to not follow through, or to say, I'll wait till next week or next month. But when we know that we have to answer to someone else is holding us accountable, we tend to button up real quick. I went to a conference one time, and it was over multiple days. At the end of one day, we were given homework assignments, and that was to go and tell someone that we love them, just out of nowhere, just say, I love you. And so I went home that night and I did not do my homework. Okay. And then I'm less than a mile away the next morning from the hotel, less than a mile away from the hotel. And I get on the phone and I call my mom that morning before she goes to work, before I go into the conference, and say, Hey, mom, I just called to say I love you. Why? Because I can't go into this conference with this coach and all these other participants and say, I didn't do my homework. I got to do my homework. And so even if we do it at the last second when we're walking in the door, the likelihood that we are going to do what we said we were going to do increases the chances of us doing it to the 90th percentile. So if you want to accomplish 90+% of your goals, you need a coach or a mentor or someone who will hold you accountable. And the beauty of having someone do it from the outside, sometimes we want to have accountability partners with our friends and family, which is great too. But if two people who have a hard time holding themselves accountable get together, okay, let's just face it, sometimes we are just going to have a hard time holding each other accountable as well. So it might work for a little while, but eventually you kind of just fall off, right? Think about some commitments that you've made with other people, right? We do it all the time. Like, oh, we're going to eat right. We're going to exercise. We're going to do this. We're going to save money. We're going to save $1 a week, all kind of crazy things. And then you don't ever check in with each other. Like it falls by the wayside. Another example, you make plans with someone and then the day and time comes and you're thinking, man, I don't want to do this. I ain't in the mood. I'm tired. I just don't care. If she don't call me, I ain't going to call her neither. Right? Like that's how we do it. But having someone who is just responsible and committed, and maybe it's their job or their function or their passion to hold you accountable, then they're going to hold you accountable, like it or not. So that is the number one most powerful aspect of coaching, is that you will get ish done. You will get ish done. The other really big benefit to me in coaching and mentoring and guiding is being heard and being able to say what is in your head and in your heart and what you fear and what you want. So I was at a life group on Friday. So I go to a really big church. I go to Joel Osteen's church, if you know who that is. So it's really big. But they have life groups, which are smaller groups of people that get together outside of church so that you can fellowship, know people, go deeper, study the word. And so my life group meets on Fridays. So I was at life group at the host house. The host, they're a married couple. And so sometimes they'll have the women go in one room and the men go into another room to talk about things. And so what we've been talking about at church is love triangles and relationships and keeping God front and center. So when we're in this life group and we're talking about relationships and things like that, the point of the story being, I told the host, I really want to do it right this time. So I'm single, I'm on a man, I want to get married, I want to have kids, and I want to do it right this time. As in, I don't want to have premarital relations. But I said to the ladies, it's easy for me to be abstinent when I'm single and there's no one in my life and there's no temptation, but I don't really trust myself when that temptation comes, right? So being able to put that out there, and like they're not my coach, she's really my spiritual mentor and spiritual guide, I would say, which is why I changed the topic of this podcast. I was going to just say the power of coaching, but really it's being mentored and guided in multiple facets, but I was able to go in there and say, look, I just don't trust myself. I want to do the right thing, but I can't promise. So sometimes we have these things in our head and we need to release it. We need to be heard. We need to talk it through and really just be able to get it out of us, get it out of ourselves and our heads and then be able to brainstorm around that. So one of the things that I said is, it's probably good for me to have a boundary around, like, what am I trying to say? Alone time at like the house, like Netflix and chilling, right? Like maybe that's not the right thing for someone who's trying to abstain, right? So then it was like, okay, so what are some of the boundaries that you have to set if you know that this is going to be a problem for you? And that's something that a coach or guide can help you talk through and even think through, because they weren't even really solutioning with me, but it was just like, this is what I feel. And now I know that I have to pay attention to this, and pray about it as well. So just being able to say what you really want to say when you really want to say it. Just being able to say, I just don't trust myself to do this XYZ thing the right way, and getting that off of your shoulders, It's powerful just to be heard. A lot of times we're not heard. I was talking to a client one time, and she talked a lot, which is great. We had an hour coaching session. She said a lot. And at the end of the session, she was like, I can't believe I talked so much. I never talked this much. I never had anything to say. I just can't believe it. I can't believe I was so open. I never share anything, right? And so sometimes when someone's listening to you and they're holding a space for you to say what needs to be said, to think through what you need to think through, to just be heard and not judged, but invited to just express yourself, sometimes you just can't stop talking because we're not heard a lot of the time. There's that quote or that saying that people listen to respond, not to really listen. But a coach or a mentor or a guide, they will listen to you just to listen to you. And you can say those things that you can't tell anybody else. So being heard is one of the really powerful impacts of coaching, and just being able to think out loud in a really safe space, and being able to brainstorm when you do think that there are roadblocks or potential roadblocks or stumbling blocks in your way, being able to brainstorm around those things and bounce ideas off of someone, or even learn from someone who's maybe been through that. So someone who's further along in their Christian walk, or someone who's further along in their business or in their marriage, in their fitness, just being able to learn from them. There's this popular book, The Ropes to Skip and the Ropes to Know. I had to read my freshman year in college at FAMU. And, working with a coach can help you know the ropes to skip and the ropes that you should know. They can help you share their knowledge and expertise that they've gotten because they're a little bit further than you on the journey. Another benefit of coaching is that there's someone to hold the vision for you. Hold the vision for you. Because sometimes the vision gets blurry because you get discouraged, because you lost your way, because you got demotivated. Sometimes the vision just gets blurry. But having someone to hold you accountable, to help you remind you of what your vision is also super powerful. Because a lot of times we're comparing ourselves to other people. We're looking at when someone else is doing it and we're saying, oh, well, that must be working for them, so then let me go try that. And, oh, well, this person's doing this, or this article just came out and said, this is the cool new thing to be doing, so let me try that. And you get so far away from your vision. But having someone who knows you, who knows what you want, when you are feeling good, feeling optimistic, feeling purposeful, can help remind you. They can help hold the vision for you when you're feeling out of purpose and pessimistic. In the book 3 Feet from Gold, there's a quote that says, don't make major decisions in a valley. Don't make major decisions in a valley, because you're not thinking straight. You're desperate, you're discouraged, you're antsy, and you're not really thinking clearly. But if you're in a valley and you get ready to make a decision that doesn't really serve you, a coach or a mentor or a guide can help you through that stage, because they know where you want to be and they're not tied to your vision emotionally like you are. So even though your emotions are rising and falling and all over the place, and you want to give up and quit and try this other thing, your coach isn't emotionally invested in your vision. They're invested, well, they are, they're invested in your vision, but they're not emotionally invested in your vision. They're invested in your success and your future and what you really, really want, not what you are willing to settle for or scared of or desperate for, but what you really, really want. So a good coach or mentor or guide will hold the vision for you even when you want to throw it away. Even when you want to throw it away. The other good thing about a coach is that they can help you stay on track. And when you get off track, to get back on track. So I was talking to someone, we'd have a call and she would say she was working on A, right? And then the next time we'd have a call and she would say she's working on D and E. And I would be like, hold up, wait a minute. Where's A at? Did you finish A yet? No. Okay, why? Why are you working on D and E if you have not finished A yet? Because some people like to start things and not finish them and move on to the next thing, right? I talked about in another episode how we start strong and we finish weak. And so some people are really great starters. They have so much inspiration, motivation, ideas. And then at some point, the vision gets a little blurry. And so they move on to the next project. But someone who is supporting you and guiding you and mentoring you can help you stay focused, to help you stay on track and not stop and start a billion different things. Because sometimes our ideas can conflict with each other, and the starting and stopping can be a form of self-sabotage, and having someone to just rein you in when you're being wild can help you just be more successful. You can be more successful with someone than on your own. Because if you're the type that starts a million different things and finishes none of them, then, you just don't find success like that, right? So really helping you get on track and stay on track. Helping you prioritize. Even if you have a ton of really great ideas, you can't execute on every single thing at the same time, which is what people sometimes try to do. And again, that leads to the I have started a kabillion things and I have finished none of them. So really being able to prioritize, what are your values? What is most important to you at this stage in your life? And helping you to just know, because when you know what's number one, it's much easier. It's much easier to manage. But when you don't know what's number one, then you're all over the place because you just don't know. So helping you prioritize is a really powerful part of coaching as well. My top podcast episodes so far, as of today, are the podcasts on creating balance, getting unstuck, and how to get ish done when you're feeling unmotivated. Those are my top 3 downloaded podcasts as of today. And that's very interesting, right? Because all of those topics, how to get unstuck, how to get ish done when you're feeling unmotivated, and how to create balance, those 3 are super related. Like getting unstuck or being stuck is a part of the reason why you can't get ish done. And not having balance is also part of the reason why you're stuck and can't get ish done. So they kind of all meld together. But when you have a coach or a mentor or a guide, they can help you navigate through all 3 of those areas. I thought that was very interesting that those were my top 3 downloads. Another really powerful part of coaching is being able to just simply make progress. A lot of times we know what we need to do, but we just don't do it. And that kind of goes back to number 1, just the accountability of it. I was talking to a client, and she had this business idea, and so I was asking her, well, what can you do about it? And she said, oh, I know this person and that person that could probably use my services. And I said, oh, okay, so if you know these people who can use your services, then what should you do about that? Or what can you do about that? And she's like, I could reach out to them. Okay, great. By when? Oh, by Friday. Okay, so you can reach out to these 2 people by Friday? Okay, great. How are you going to do it? You're going to email them? You're going to call them? Oh, well, I could probably call Susie. I know her very well, but I'll send John an email. Okay, great. So by this Friday, you're going to call Susie and send John an email about your business idea, right? Yeah. Okay, I can do that. Okay, great. When you get it done, send me a text message. Like, that's literally how this conversation went, right? She already knew what to do. She already had the idea. I didn't give her an idea, but I helped her move along to make progress, to get out of her head, just by asking her some questions and making her put a deadline on it. So coaching and mentoring and guiding can help you make progress, make the progress that you already know you could be making, you should be making, but for whatever reason, the voices in your head are not letting you make it. The self-talk, the doubt is keeping you from doing it. So actually making progress, getting out of your head and getting into action, one of the key benefits And then just being able to find solutions to break big problems down into more manageable problems, or to take big steps and break them down into more manageable steps so that you can actually move forward and think through what to do and how to do it. And just having that person to help give you a new perspective, to help you think through things from a different avenue, to help you break things down, to help you connect the dots that you can't see so that you can get more of a fuller picture. Or maybe you're someone who is really, really in the weeds that you can't see the bigger picture. Having someone help you to see the bigger picture, or vice versa. Maybe you're someone who sees the bigger picture and you just can't figure out the details. Then having someone help you to see how the details make up the bigger picture. Sometimes it's just challenging your own thoughts and beliefs. I was talking to someone recently about someone else's intention. So she had invited someone to a party of hers, and the person said, "I'm coming, but I have to leave early." And so the person I was talking to was like, "She just doesn't want to come at all. She's just doing me a favor." And I was like, "Well, hold up, wait a minute, time out. Why are you thinking that?" And she's like, "Because she's leaving early, like right after the thing's over. She's leaving like that exact moment." And I was like, "Well, I mean, maybe the tickets were cheaper because she was flying in. Sometimes tickets prices impact things. I was talking to someone recently, and she took her kids out of school for 2 days to go to Belize because it was cheaper to fly those days. So maybe it was just a price thing. And so sometimes you just need someone to just like give you a different perspective. We have predisposed dispositions sometimes where we naturally take this certain stance when certain things come up that don't serve us and don't serve the situation and don't serve the relationship. So just being able to sort through that as well is a very great resource for coaching. And really, like, a relationship coach is really great about this. Like, that you get into these relationships and you just can't make them work, or you have insecurities or baggage from the past, and that they make all your relationships end. Having a coach can help you really sort through that, where it's coming from, alternate approaches, and hopefully, find more success. I actually have a list of coaches on my website, and one of them is a love coach, Dr. Kimberly, I call her. So she is your love coach. So that could be a resource for you. So I do have a list of 21 coaches on my website that can help you transform your life, love, fitness, spirituality, money. So if you want to check that out, I will have links for you in the show notes as well. And really, the last thing I'll just say about the power of having a coach or a mentor or guide is really helping you just get out of your own way, helping you address your own thought patterns or your own insecurities or your own lack of knowledge just in who you are and what you want. Just figuring out what your quote unquote purpose is and seeing more clearly who you are and who you want to project into the world. So those are just some of the benefits and the aspects that make coaching so powerful. And, if you're thinking that you want to consider working with a coach, again, I have a list of 21 coaches on my website that I will include in the show notes, but also just let you know how you can work with me. So if you are interested in coaching with me, then you can just shoot me an email at charlene@fromcaterpillars-to-butterflies.com and let me know what area of your life you're struggling with or you want to move forward with, or what your goals are. And then I'll send you a link to my calendar. We can have a quick 20-minute call just to see what's really going on and if I can help and if I'm the right fit for you and if you're the right fit for me. So if that is interesting to you at all, then you could, again, just shoot me an email at charlene@fromcaterpillars-to-butterflies.com and we can go from there. Maybe you're thinking that you see the value in coaching, but you are just not ready to invest in a coach. What about those people? Okay, I have a solution for you as well. So I have an article on my website, which I will link to again in the show notes, on ways to coach yourself to success. And so just real quickly, I will lay out what those ways are for you. One way is to keep a daily goals journal. So every day you write down what your goals are. And every evening you write down how you've progressed toward your goals. So you say what worked well that day, what didn't work so well that day, what will you do differently tomorrow? So an example is you might say, my goal right now is to lose 10 pounds. So you write that down in the morning, and at night you'd say, okay, so what went well today? I ate a salad for lunch and I had oatmeal for breakfast. What didn't work so well? Well, I had pizza and margaritas for dinner and I didn't exercise. What will you do differently tomorrow? I'm going to make sure I exercise and keep my calorie counts under X, right? And you do that every single day. And you will probably be rewriting the same goals. You should be rewriting the same goals every day, but you're writing your goals down every day and you're holding yourself accountable to them every night. That's one of the ways that you can coach yourself to success. Another way is the life balance wheel. So we talked about that exercise on the balance episode. So go back and listen to that if you haven't, but keep track of, do an assessment of how things are currently in your life today and what needs to change, and then work on changing it, and then come back and revisit the life wheel and see if you're actually moving the needle. So that's another way that you can coach yourself to success. Writing a personal it statement or a manifesto is a way to help you get crystal clear on what you want, who you are, what you deserve, what you believe in, what you value, what you're willing to do for yourself and your future. And then the last thing is the RAMP method. So RAMP stands for reflect, avoid, move, and persist. So you're going to reflect on your current situation, reflect on what you want. You're going to identify things that you need to avoid, obstacles that you know are problematic for you. So if you know going to happy hour with your coworkers after work is going to have you blow up your diet, then maybe you avoid that for the time being, or maybe you cut it back to once a month instead of once a week, right? So what things do you need to avoid? How do you need to move forward? It could be calling someone. And then the P is just persisting, staying committed to a goal or vision long enough to make it happen. I also wrote an article on classycareergirl.com on ways to coach yourself to success. And I have some different methods there, which I'll link to in the show notes as well. But just quickly, dig deeper is one of the ways. So in coaching, a lot of times, what we really want to do is to help our clients empty themselves out. And so we do that by always asking you, and what else? So you might go to a coach and say, I'm really feeling unsatisfied with my work, and what else? And I just feel like there's just something else for me, and what else? And I feel, and so you just keep saying, and what else, and what else, and what else, until the client says nothing. There's nothing else, right? So that's emptying them out. But you can empty yourself out. You can just journal on this. Whatever problem that you're struggling with, whatever issue that you're struggling with, or whatever you want to get clarity or some solutions or perspective around, you can just journal this out. What's the issue? And what else? And what else? And what else? And what else? You can coach yourself that way. And another one real quick that I'll share with you, and I think I shared this on the Get Unstuck episode, but there's always something you can be doing. So when you want to coach yourself to success and you're feeling stuck, then you just say, what could I do right now? That doesn't depend on anybody, doesn't depend on any money, doesn't depend on nothing but me. And whatever that is, you do that thing. And you just continually ask yourself, what could I be doing right now? No obstacles, no strings attached, no money, no resources. What can I do right now? And you do that thing. That's the way that you can coach yourself. So that's all I have for you for this episode. I've given you some ways. I've shared with you how coaching is so powerful, and whether that's a coach or a mentor or a guide, whether it's an accountability partner that you can trust to keep you accountable, whether it's an actual investment financially that you're making in someone, or whether you're just committed to holding yourself accountable and you're able to coach yourself. There's value in it. So find a way to get it in your life and really watch your life transform. Again, All the links that I have mentioned here, you will find them on the website in the show notes. From caterpillars to butterflies.com. It is spelled just the way it sounds. And now we will head into a moment of meditation.
And now, a moment of meditation. If you're not driving, cooking, or doing anything that requires your full attention, take a deep breath and close your eyes as Charlene leads you into an inspiring meditation.
Take another deep breath in. It's game time. See yourself in the middle of the game of life, your life. The ball is in your court. The next move is yours. What are you going to do? What kind of game are you going to play? Are you playing full out? Are you winning? See yourself winning. Winning in this game of life. See yourself scoring. Back to back to back. See yourself defending yourself, defending your goals, defending your turf, defending your values. You're the MVP in your own life. See yourself winning. See yourself playing full out, going for everything you want, everything you need. You got this. You got it. See yourself as the star. Hear the crowd cheering you on. Giving it all you got every single time. You got this. This is your life. You are the star player in your own life, and you go full out. See yourself playing full out. What does that look like in your life? How do you feel when you go full out? What do you gain when you play full out? Who are you helping? Who are you serving when you play the game of life full out? See it. Imagine yourself there. Feel it. Stay committed. Stay focused. You got it. This is your game. You gonna take a loss? Huh? Or are you gonna win? Let me hear you say it. I'm gonna win. I'm gonna win. Yes. You've got what it takes. But you've got to play the game. You've got to go full out. Be committed. You got this. On the count of 3, open your eyes. Feeling in charge. Committed, focused, and like you are the MVP in the game of your life. 1, 2, 3. Open your eyes. Knowing you are a star. Knowing that the ball is in your hands. You get to make this life what you want it to be. And carry this feeling with you for the rest of the day and for the rest of your life. Remember, you get to make this game of life what you want it to be. Until next time, grow on purpose.
Thanks for listening to the From Caterpillars to Butterflies podcast, your one-stop shop for all things personal growth. For today's show notes and even more tools and resources to help you transform the life you have into the life you love, go to www.fromcaterpillarstobutterflies.com.